Today, the Casey family salutes our dad, Major General George Casey. He and 6 others were killed when their helicopter crashed near Bow Lock almost 50 years ago.
On behalf of the entire Pitts family, I'd like to pay this tribute to my father on Father's Day, Captain Riley Leroy Pitts, the first African-American officer to receive the Congressional Medal of Honor. I'd also like to say Happy Father's Day to the fathers of my brothers and sisters of Sons and Daughters in Touch.
While it has been 53 years since you left us, your legacy lives on in the hearts and minds of your wife, children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren.
I remember my father, Captain Ellis David Green, killed in action May 23rd, 1970 in Vietnam, West Point graduate, class of 1967. I miss and love you, Dad. Bye-bye.
Remembering my father, Warrant Officer Alan Brian Partridge, killed near Hue, Vietnam on January 31st, 1970. I love you and miss you. Happy Father's Day, Daddy.
In honor of our father, Colonel Raymond Penn, Jr., killed in action, Vietnam, husband to Barbara Penn, and father to 4 children.
Remembering my dad. Major Albro L. Lundy, Jr., KIA, December 24th, 1970.
Remembering and honoring my father, Captain Carl E. Jackson, missing in action, June 27th, 1965. I love you, Dad. See you soon.
I'd like to honor my father, Benjamin Irvin Warren, KIA, October 3rd, 1966.
We remember my father,
my grandfather, my great-grandfather,
Carl Jackson, MIA, June 27th, 65.
Remembering and honoring my father, Lance Corporal Billy B. Woodson, Marine Corps, killed in Vietnam, December 2nd, 1966.
My brothers and I remember our father, Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Shine, an Air Force fighter pilot, missing for 24 years.
My grandpa Tony Shine was missing in action for 24 years. His remains were returned, but there are still 1,587 Americans unaccounted for.
Honoring Cheryl Roth and Denny Perry by remembering their dad, Billy Roth, shot down with my dad June 27th, 1965, MIA.
Sergeant Major retired Lisa Torello. This is a little tribute to my father, SFC Carl H. Torello, 4E40 on the wall. Special Forces killed 26 December 65.
Today, my family and I remember our father, Commander Stanley Olmsted, Navy fighter pilot, missing in action over North Vietnam since October 17th, 1965.
My dad is Colonel Charles S. Riley, and he left a big hole when he was shot down. I love you, Dad. Happy Father's Day.
Hi, this is my dad, Cletus Whitaker, Vietnam, 68, 69. We lost him in 2017 due to Agent Orange. Love you, Dad. Happy Father's Day.
Today, my sisters and I remember our dad, Lieutenant Clyde David Taylor, born in San Marcos, Texas, killed in Vietnam, January 1966.
Specialist 4, Craig S. Metling, killed in action 3/13/1969, known as Giant to his friends and father to me.
Remembering my dad, SP4, Curtis E. Burkett, killed February 19th, 1971. I love you.
This Father's Day, I remember my dad, Dan Gleason, killed in action February 23rd, 1969. I love you, Dad. Miss you. Pray for you.
Remembering David Amon Sanford, killed in action 2/7/68. I will always love you, Daddy.
Every day I remember my father, David Jesse Moreno, born on Christmas Day in Elgin, Texas. Never forget.
Happy Father's Day to Army Captain David Marshall Davies, mortally wounded on April 1st in the bombing of the Hotel Victoria, 1966. Love you, Daddy.
Today, on Father's Day, my brother, sister, and I would love to pay tribute to David Mendoza, a loving father, grandfather, uncle, brother, a patriot. We love you, Daddy. We miss you.
Remembering my father, David Mann, KIA at 20 years old at Dak To, May 28, 1969. I wish I would have known you. Love you.
Our last family photograph together before our father
Staff Sergeant David Spears was killed July of 1966. We miss you, Dad.
Happy Father's Day, Daddy. Delbert Chan Toddy, father of 6. KIA, 31 March 1967, Battle of Apgu.
Today I remember my father, Delbert Chan Toddy. He was killed March 31st, 1967, and I miss him very much.
We remember Corporal Dennis Francis Shine, USA Army from Worcester, Massachusetts, killed at age 21, leaving behind a son and daughter, forever in our hearts.
On this Father's Day, I want to remember my dad, Corporal Dennis F. Shine Jr., United States Army, who died at the age of 21. Our American hero, always remembered, never forgotten.
Hi, I'd like to wish my dad, Corporal Dennis F. Shine Jr. from Worcester, Mass., and all the other veterans a happy Father's Day. Sorry the pandemic kept us away. Hope to be together real soon.
Honoring my father, Lieutenant Commander Dennis Pike, missing in action over Laos since March 23, 1972. Father of 3, grandfather of 5. We can't wait to bring you home.
This is my father, Domingo Jose Morado, from San Antonio, Texas. He served in the Army 18 years, and he was killed in action May 13, 1969, and he had 6 daughters.
Remembering my father's co-pilot, Warrant Officer Don R. Harger, died 17 August 1967, father of 2 boys.
On Father's Day, I am thinking of my beloved Wall brother Terry and his dad, Donald McGregor, whose name is inscribed on panel 1 East, row 26.
My brother and I honor our brave, loving dad, Captain Donald Bryant, Army pilot, only child, KIA, 27 June 66.
On Father's Day, I remember my dad, Sergeant Dwight Montgomery Bull Durham, who served with the H Company Lerp Rangers, 75th Ranger Regiment.
I honor my dad, Earl Frederick Brown, killed in Vietnam, January 29th, 1966. Always my hero.
Though I have no memory of you, on this Father's Day, I am loving you. Eddie Cervoni from Puerto Rico. He died 3 days before his 21st birthday.
Today I remember my father, Major Edward M. Hudgens, killed in Laos, March 21st, 1970.
Remembering and honoring my father, Commander Donald Richard Hubbs, missing in Vietnam since 1968. He is always in my heart, forever loved.
My name is Rex. On this Father's Day, I'm honoring my great-grandfather, Donald Richard Hubbs. Happy Father's Day.
Today and every day, my brother, sister, and I remember and honor our dad and hero, Major Erman M. Newman Jr., U.S. Army, killed in action August 12, 1966.
Today, I remember my dad, Sergeant First Class Francisco Valley, killed March 12, 1968 in Vietnam.
My dad, Lieutenant Commander Frederick Peter Crosby. He was killed and listed missing in action in 1965, recovered 52 years later, buried in Fort Rosecrans.
Happy Father's Day to Staff Sergeant Gregory Unzicker, who is remembered by his daughter, his baby girl Stacy, who loves him dearly and looks forward to the day when they finally can meet.
Honoring my father, Sergeant Harold Reed, killed in action July 3rd, 1966.
Remembering and honoring my father, Lieutenant Roach, killed in Vietnam, 1964, and my son, Private First Class Joel Bertain, killed in Baghdad, Iraq, 2004. I love you always.
My father was Captain Harry G. Kramer, United States Army Special Forces, killed near Nha Trang, Vietnam, October 21st, 1957.
Happy Father's Day to my dad, Lieutenant Commander James A. Smith, killed in action on October 26, 1966, aboard the USS Oriskany.
My brothers and I honor our dad, our hero, Lieutenant Colonel Harry Morris, killed in action in Vietnam, also saw action in World War II and Korea. Dad, we love you and miss you.
In remembrance of our dad, Harvey Paul Kelly, that was killed in Vietnam, November 20th, 1969. We love you, we miss you, we wish you were here.
Remembering Henry Joseph Kuykendall, United States Marine Corps, killed in action, age 20, Vietnam. Your son.
Honoring my father, Henry Muir Serix, U.S. Air Force, missing in action, South Vietnam, April 2nd, 1972. Always in my heart, never forgotten.
Happy Father's Day to my dad, Sergeant Howard E. Query, who was killed on May 10th, 1968 in Vietnam, 2 months before I was born.
Today, my brothers and I remember our father, Commander Robert Saavedra, shot down over North Vietnam on April 28, 1968, still missing in action. You are not forgotten.
We honor Lieutenant Commander James Andrew Smith, killed in action October 26, 1966. Happy Father's Day, Dad. We miss you.
I'm wishing my father, Lieutenant Commander James Andrew Smith, happy Father's Day. We love you and miss you.
We honor our dad, James C. Mitchell, Jr., U.S. Navy, Torrance, California, January 8th, 1970. We love you, Dad.
I'm Marie Kittimer. I'd like to remember James Dale Kittimer, 69 to 71, Army CW2 officer. He has 5 children from Fort Worth, Texas. On Father's Day, thank you.
This Father's Day, I remember my father, Colonel James E. Denneny, died in November of 69 in Vietnam, U.S. Air Force. He left behind 7 children. I'm Jim Jr. Thank you.
Today, I'm honoring my dad, James Pat Eccles, killed in action in Vietnam, August 12, 1969. Miss you forever.
Honoring our dad, James William Sampers, father of 4, United States Navy, killed September 7, 1969.
I am my best self when I'm my father's daughter. Happy Father's Day, Dad. Captain Jimmy Brazier, United States Army, missing in Vietnam.
Remembering Captain Joe Berkson, fellow Ranger Advisor to 5th Army Ranger Group, killed in Quang Tri Province, 1972. Rest in peace.
Today, I remember my grandfather, Joel D. Coleman, Panel 7E, Line 29. Forever our hero and always in our hearts. Happy Father's Day.
Honoring my grandfather, SP4 Joel Daniel Coleman. We continue to keep your legacy alive and in our hearts forever.
Remembering my husband, Joel Daniel Coleman, U.S. Army, father of our daughter, Kelly, killed in Vietnam, May 5th, 1966. Happy Heavenly Father's Day with love.
Today I remember my dad, Joel Daniel Coleman, killed in Vietnam, May 5th, 1966. Happy Father's Day. Love and miss you, Dad.
My daughter and I and our entire family are honoring my father, John Crawford, who died March 10th, 1967. He left behind so many who love him. My mom recently joined him. We love you both very much.
Today I honor and remember my father, Lieutenant Colonel John F. Stewart, United States Air Force, father of 5, MIA, body not recovered, December 20th, 1972, North Vietnam.
My brother, John Jacob McClay Jr., was killed in action at the age of 20, New Year's Eve, 1968. He never had the joy of becoming a father.
In honor of my father, John Kim Vogelsang, who was killed 10 days before I was born.
Hi, my name is Camille Gagan-Olson, and this is my family. I lost my dad in Idrang Valley in 1965. I was 6 months old. I was his only child, and he was an only child.
This is my father, John Michael Cole, United States Air Force First Lieutenant, killed in action July 2nd, 1972.
Happy Father's Day to our dad, Captain John W. Carlson, U.S. Air Force. We'll never give up looking for you, and I think you would have been a pretty awesome grandpa.
My brother, Lieutenant Jonathan Shine, had no children, but through the witness of his Christian life, he became the spiritual father and grandfather of many.
Remembering my father's crew chief, Spec 5 Joseph Benson, died 17 August 1967, father of a daughter he never got to meet.
My family and I will always remember and honor my father, Joseph Dana Jr., who was killed in action December 16th, 1970.
Happy Father's Day to Joseph Hunt, whose daughter Susie remembers him with love and says, "He is my hero, my daddy."
I remember Captain Joseph M. Berkson, killed in action May 2nd, 1972 at 25 years old. As your only daughter, I miss you every day.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a second to remember my grandfather, Joseph Lyons, who died in Vietnam. He was a hero, and I love him and miss him.
To honor my father-in-law, Joe Lyons, that I never met, but I came to know through his dad and my lovely wife.
This Father's Day, I'd like to honor my dad,
Corporal Joseph Walter Lyons, who was killed in action June 5th, 1968. Dad, we love and miss you.
This Father's Day, I'd like to remember my grandpa, Corporal Joe Lyons. He was killed in action in Vietnam in 1968 of June. Never got to meet him, but I do miss him. Also, thank you for the Sunning Eye.
We would like to honor our father, Captain Kenneth Randall Price. He was in the Army Infantry and served 3 tours in Vietnam. He left behind 3 daughters.
Remembering my father, Lieutenant Colonel Kenneth Stonebreaker, who went missing in action on October 28, 1968.
Happy Father's Day to my dad, Larry Costley, killed October 3rd, 1968 at Camp Evans. We love you and miss you.
Remembering my father, Larry Harvey, United States Marine Corps, killed in action, October 3rd, 1965. Happy Father's Day.
Today we honor my dad, Larry Hagney, who served in the Army in Vietnam in 68-69 and received a Purple Heart. We love you, Grandpop.
This is in remembrance of my brother, Naval Corpsman Larry Joe Goff.
Happy Father's Day, Dad. My dad, Larry Joe Goss, was the senior corpsman of Kilo 39, but more importantly, he was a great husband and wonderful dad. Killed on Valentine's Day, 1968.
Happy Father's Day, Larry Joe Goss, panel 39E, line 32. It's been a pleasure to be the husband of your daughter and the father of your 5 grandchildren.
On Father's Day, we remember my grandpa, Larry Joe Goss, a loving husband and father, killed in action at the age of 21.
Today, we honor my grandfather, Larry Goss, who was killed in Vietnam in 1968 at the age of 21.
Today, I honor my grandpa, Larry, who fought for our country and died in the Vietnam War in 1968 on Valentine's Day.
Colton's grandpa, Larry Goss, in his final letter to my mom, February 13th, 1968, he was killed the following day. Dear darling, how is my darling daughter today? I miss you very much.
Happy Father's Day, great grandpa, Larry.
Today I want to honor one of my high school classmates, Larry Goss, who gave his life fighting for the freedom of our country. Thank you, Larry.
Captain Martin Gronberg Jr., loved and missed by his daughter Heather, grandkids Amanda, Alex, Ben, and Suzanne, and great-grandkids. Happy Father's Day, Dad. We miss you.
Today, my sons and I remember my father, Platoon Sergeant Maurice Williams, killed in action February 1968.
I'm honoring my father, Commander Michael George Hoff, United States Navy, shot down over Laos January 7th, 1970. He is still missing in action. Daddy, you will never be forgotten.
June 1968, my family lost a wonderful soul. Sergeant First Class Leroy Geyer left behind his wife, 3 children, 7 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. We all wish we could have made memories with you. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, Dad. My father is Major Leroy I. Blankenship, killed in action in Antenna Valley, April 1st, 1969.
In honor of my daddy-o, Leslie Carnes of Missouri, killed in action February of 1971. Mom still waits for you, Daddy. I love you.
We remember and honor Linwood D. Martin on this Father's Day. We love you and miss you. Tammy, Tracy, and Linwood.
We remember Michael Monsolovich Jr., my father,
My grandfather,
my great-grandfather, killed in action May 5th, 1968.
Today I'm honoring my father, Michael William Orash, killed in action, Quan Tree Promises, April 27th, 1968, United States Marine Corps.
Today I remember my dad, Captain Milton Francis Smith, killed in action in Vietnam in November of 1966.
Remembering my dad, Oscar Moderer, missing in action, shot down over Laos 2/15/66, one of 1,587 still unaccounted for.
We remember my father, Captain Paul McNally, Marine Corps helicopter pilot, father of 3 from Massachusetts. You are forever in our hearts. Happy Father's Day.
This Father's Day, I would like to honor and remember my father, Randall H. Lloyd, that was killed in Vietnam, September 4th, 1968. Love you, Dad.
Today I'm remembering my father, Ray Daniel Pendergraft,
killed in action in July 1967.
Remembering our father, Sergeant Raymond E. Layton.
Killed in action, March 1966.
I remember my dad, Colonel Richard Ambrose Walsh III, shot down Laos, February 15, 1969. Still missing. Gonna bring you home one day, Dad.
Today, my family remembers our father and husband, Captain Richard D. Goss, killed in action on August 29, 1964, in Ben Hoa, Vietnam.
This Father's Day, I'm remembering my father, Richard Gibbons, who was killed in action May 29, 1968. Always remembered, never forgotten.
To my grandfather, Richard Schmidt, and to all fathers who have sacrificed for their family and their country, Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, Dad, from your 6 children, 16 grandchildren, and 12 great-grandchildren. Your story will go on and you'll be loved forever.
This Father's Day, I'm thinking about my dad, Richard Sanders, who was killed on November 24th, 1967, when I was 3 years old. Miss you, Dad.
This Father's Day, I remember my grandpa, Richard Lee Sanders, who died on November 24th, 1967. Always remembered.
Today, my sisters and I remember our father, Richard T. Post, a Marine Corps veteran from Hartford, Ohio, who passed away a year ago from Agent Orange exposure in Vietnam.
My father and hero was Captain Robert D. Bennett. He was killed in action November 5th, 1962. He was an air commando in the United States Air Force.
Remembering and honoring my father, Colonel Robert Dale Anderson, my hero. His plane was shot down in Vietnam in 1972 and he was killed. Happy Father's Day, I love you.
This Father's Day, we remember our dad, Colonel Robert Dale Anderson, who died in 1972 in the Vietnam War. He was a United States Air Force pilot, and we miss him every day.
Happy Father's Day, Daddy. Captain Ron Forrester, United States Marine Corps, still missing in action. I miss you and love you.
We are honoring my father,
my grandfather,
Robert Guy Strickland, KIA, June 1969. We love and miss you.
Remembering and honoring my dad, Air Force Major Robert Horsky, and the 80 foreman he died with when their plane crashed in Vietnam, December 11, 1965.
This video is made in memory of my father, Robert Joseph Davis, killed in action October 1st, 1968.
In memory of Robert Lewis Howard, killed in action on June 10, 1969 in Vietnam. From your son, your grandsons, gone but not forgotten.
Remembering and honoring my father, Ronald Reyes. He was killed in action March 30th, 1968 at Quezon.
Remembering my father, Colonel Roy A. Knight, Jr., U.S. Air Force, shot down over Laos, 1967, and whose remains were returned last year. Welcome home, Dad.
Today, my family and I remember and honor my father, Reginald Stewart, also known as Samuel K. Stewart.
In honor of my father, Lieutenant Commander James A. Smith, happy Father's Day. I love you, miss you. I know you'd be proud of your 4 sons. Wish we could have had a beer together.
We honor and remember SFC Thomas H. Welsh, 5th Special Forces Group, KIA, 16 May 66.
Today, I remember my dad, Chief Master Sergeant Thomas Moore, captured 10/31/65 in Ben Hoa, Vietnam.
My daddy was Chief Master Sergeant Thomas Moore, United States Air Force. He was taken prisoner on October the 31st, 1965. He still remains unaccounted for and missing in action. We love you, Dad, and wish we had a Father's Day.
I remember my dad, Sergeant Tommy Ray Thompson, killed in action December 2nd, 1967. Mom and I miss you every day.
I'm here with my son, honoring my dad, Vernon Franklin Pendergrass, United States Marine Corps. To my dad and yours,
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to my dad, Walter Carney, killed in Vietnam, June 13th, 1969. Every day I wish I had met you. I love you very much. Today I remember my husband, SP4 Walter J. Carney, killed on June 13th, 1969. Till we meet again. Love you.
Hi, I'm Ken Mobley. Along with my mom Alice and my brother Mike and my entire family, we're honoring my father, CW2 Warren H. Mobley, this Father's Day. Forever in honor.
My father, Chief Warrant Officer Wayne E. Jones, died in Vietnam, 17 August 1967. He was 33 years old, father of 5 children who miss him every day.
I'm blessed to honor my father, Air Force Captain William C. Mattis, killed in action March 11, 1965. Until we meet again.
I remember William Alexander Griffiths III, father of 2, Marine, killed in 1970, forever in my heart.
Today we honor our grandfather, Captain William Anderson Branch from Fitzgerald, Georgia.
50 years ago you were buried on Father's Day.
We miss you.
My dad loved life and his family. I was a daddy's girl in his shadow for our 9 years and cherish those memories with all my heart. I love and miss you forever.
On Father's Day, I'm remembering Charles Lovelace and my dad, William E. Cordero, who were lost on a bombing mission over Laos. They left behind 7 children, and tomorrow, June 22nd, is the 55th anniversary of their loss.
My father, Major William Edward Cordero Sr., United States Air Force, was lost over Vietnam in 1965, but his courage and love of country is remembered by all, especially those who've never met him.
Honoring our grandfather, Major William E. Cordero.
Killed in action on June 22nd, 1965.
On behalf of your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren,
we love you and wish you a happy Father's Day.
Thank you, sons and daughters in touch, for honoring the lives and legacies of those that are forever remembered in our nation's capital on the Vietnam Wall Memorial. To all of you, we wish you a very happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers and grandpas on the wall.